And you guessed it, court is back in session. Night court, that is. Welcome back to the Little Angry Box here on Trial Watch with Demetra. I am Demetra Lit all day, as I like to call myself, Judge D Lit. Anywho, we are back for part 3 of the best of Trial Watch on the Bird Pile trial. Okay, let me say hello, Winter. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the jury box. Hey, my flower. Good evening. Hey, Tiki girl, you're gonna have to go check out Tiki. Somehow, some way, we didn't got caught up, honey, and invested in the daytime trial. The trial we're watching during the day. We started today. So check it out if you get a chance. It's a lot, okay? It's a lot. Hey, Lady Steph. But tonight is best of trial, and we are on part 3. This is the state of Georgia versus Melody Farris. Okay, called Melody by her family. Her name is actually Amanda, but that's neither here or there. Let's see here. Important facts, important things to know about this trial. At the top to the right there, Amanda Farris, otherwise known as Melody, is accused by the state of Georgia of unaliving 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago, her husband, up to the top left, the patriarch of the family, Chris Farris. At the time, he was 68 years old. They had been married for over 38 years. As you can tell by this family tree, they had 4 adult kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. In order by age, it's going to be Chris, the oldest, Scott, Emily, and Amanda, the baby girl. Now, the patriarch, Chris Farris, was a highly successful, affluent lawyer. Boom, got you. What's up, Lady Steph? Welcome back. I got you. Thank you. The patriarch, Chris Farris, very successful, very affluent, some type of property or something like that type of lawyer. Okay. Money in the family, money, prestige, all that great dynasty Dallas type stuff, right? The couple had been married for over 38 years. The marriage was not one that was all peaches and cream. Come to find out, there had been multiple affairs or infidelities on both sides of the totem here. Chris Farris, we found out yesterday, at some point in time, had an affair with 1 or 2 women. One for certain was Angela Phillips, his longtime secretary. Okay, and Amanda Farris, Melody Farris is what we call her. Okay. No, I don't know why I'm saying that. Her name is Melody. Amanda is the daughter at the bottom. I must have cut it off the top or something. Anywho, Melody Farris, right, is known or is reported to have had an affair early on in their marriage. First one to have the affair, and she had an affair very close to the family. She cheated on her husband with her, pretty much her brother-in-law. You know, her husband's sister's boyfriend. So let's just say brother-in-law, right? For all practical purposes. Please like this video and share. So, and then as of the more current year, she was, it was a very well-known kept secret that she had been having an affair with some gentleman named Rusty, who we find out, but we haven't heard his testimony, actually turned on her and actually testifies against her, but we haven't got there. Welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box, Unbothered for Real. Welcome back, and thanks for the love earlier. I'm glad to see you back. So it's reported that Melody, the wife, on or around June the 3rd, 4th, or 5th, they're not certain of exactly what day, but they pretty much they kind of leaning towards July 4th, that Melody Farris somehow shot her husband, got him out of the huge sprawling residence, got his body to and on top of taking a burn pile there on the property. And from there, she proceeded to burn his body. She shot him, got him out the house, burnt his body on the burn pile on the property. That's the charges. That's what's been alleged. It's not a death penalty case. So far, these are the standout factors that we decided. Right now, as it stands, this is a general consensus of what we've been talking about on tonight's the third night, is number one. It seems like the Little Lane jury box is kind of very, very uncertain or not convinced that the defendant could have done this. If she did it, they are definitely sure that she couldn't have done it by herself. She's a small little woman. Her husband, a big old man. And how could she have possibly gotten his body out the house? In the house, they only found 2 specks of blood. One maybe drop of blood in the house, and one definite proven blood drop on one drop on the tractor footrest, right? It's one drop of blood. They never found the gun. Now the body is confirmed to be his. Now yesterday, standout points. This is a real whodunit. She is claiming total innocence. Okay, she says she didn't do it at all. And as a matter of fact, they raising a lot of reasonable doubt, and they're leaving the door wide open and suspicion left there on one of the sons having committed this crime. Hey, Renee. Hey, Kurt Vixen. Welcome back, everybody. Another thing that we all decided was that 911 call that was made by the son, one of the sons, sounded very suspicious. The caller, the son, calls in to 911, very calm, very cool, which is fine. He had been in this service. Sometimes cooler head prevail. But he went into great detail on a 911 call about his father, number one, being missing. Number two, not only is his dad missing, but he thinks he found his dad's body burnt up on the burn pile. And the way that I just told you guys that was with more fervor and excitement and panic than he did. He said it very matter-of-factly. He said that he had been in the service and he's pretty sure that's the body because he knows what a burnt-up body looks like. All very, very, very calm for the circumstances. We found that suspicious. Let me see. And we also found suspicious when they were showing the CSI photos yesterday. We found it kind of questionable that a few pages of what turned out to be work financial records for the victim, like how much he had made that quarter in his law practice. Welcome back, VA Sagittarius. I'm glad to see the newly laid jurors back in the house. Welcome back. But we found it very peculiar that these important bank records was found tossed in a trash can in the barn. Very suspicious because the house is huge. The victim's a lawyer. He has this huge, well-appointed, home office. So why would his financial records and paperwork be tossed haphazardly in an open barn? We found that kind of strange. So now we're getting to the best of. Tonight we're going to look at the testimony of a neighbor. Now I have seen this testimony, and I'm going to see if you guys think the same thing. I'm going to ask. This is like a question to look out for. This neighbor has a running theme. I'm going to see if y'all can tell what I'm talking about. It's going to be kind of obvious, right? But let's get into this testimony. This is a best of, where we're watching the best and the most, the juiciest testimonies in the burn pile trial. All right, let's get started. Georgia versus Melody Farris. And sorry I came on my 30 minutes late, you guys. My bad.
Oh, yes. You want to play it? That's fine, man. Judge, we're going to play a video. It's not very long. They won't play this video, so we'll play it here.
That's video there on their property. That's their lake that's on their property. They drained it and couldn't find the gun.
And that's call it 17. It was 39 seconds. We tender that too.
No, Jay.
All right. It's all good.
All right, can you sit down?
Yes.
All right, you be excused. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Steakhouse cherry fries. Oh, Judge, may we approach?
The closest neighbor got to be miles and miles away, right? Because of their property. And that's what I said too, because you're going to hear the neighbor talk about he always see them walking. I'm like, golly, they must have drove the car down to the end of the property before they start walking, I'm sure, right? Let's see. Let me take this down.
And how?
And here we go.
Cherry fries.
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm the evidence about to present in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
Mr. Braswell, did you ever expect yourself to be here testifying in a murder case?
No.
If you would, I'm going to try to relax you a little bit in this. And
Okay, wait. Definitely not borrowing no Kool-Aid or sugar, okay? M&A says, sidebar. Remember the story, Demetra, that's me, told about the woman who beat the guy's friend up from upstairs. She got arrested. Yeah, the itch went to jail for beating her ass. Wait. Oh. Story time, the TikTok story time. And you guys, I actually found the video by accident on his app. I got a new video app, whatever it's called, Scoops or something. And the video actually came up and I got so excited. I hit the wrong something on the screen and lost the video. I was like, are you serious? Oh, so, okay, that girl, this is from that TikTok story about that girl who came downstairs, knocked at her neighbor's door, talking noise and being real rude, and the girl pulled in the house and beat her up. Wow. So she did go to jail. Wow. Kidnapping charges. Wow. Okay, stay tuned for an official update to that, okay? Thank you, Renee. I'll definitely check into that so I can get the official word on it, okay? We said that when we watched the story time and live reaction, we said, you know, that could have been cause for kidnapping because she actually brought the girl in the house, you know? So I want to see how they, what they do about those cops that made the wrong call the first time, right? All right. Thank you. We will follow up on that.
if you can, just tell the jury how old you are.
How old I am?
Yes, sir.
I'm 68.
Hold on.
Kind of.
I want to get his name.
Do you know the machines and stuff that you use to do it?
Hold on. All right, let's start over. All right. Oh, Did I not push play?
Terry Braswell.
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm the evidence about presenting this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
Mr. Braswell, did you ever expect yourself to be here testifying in a murder case?
No.
If you would, I'm gonna try to relax you a little bit in this, and if you can, just tell the jury how old you are.
Because he do look uptight, huh?
Yes, sir.
I'm 68.
And Mr. Braswell, don't give us your address or anything, but do you live in the county?
Yes.
And how long have you lived here?
43 years.
And what do you do as your occupation?
I'm a grade contractor
How long have you been doing that?
all my life.
And part of that, what type of work is it that you actually do? What all things do you do for the
I
business?
used to do a lot of residential stuff. I usually just work on horse arenas now.
And when you do that, what type of machines and stuff do you use to do it?
Bobcat, farm tractor.
Do you have a big business? Do you own it?
Yeah, I own it.
Do you have a lot of employees?
No, one, me.
Just yourself? Where in the county do you live? Don't give us your address or anything like that, but where in the area?
Off of 372 Birmingham Road.
And do you know the defendant, Melody Walker Farris, here in court today?
Do I know her?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And do you see what she's sitting in today, the type of clothing she has on? And she's sitting here at the table with the
Right.
defense counsel.
Mhm.
And how long have you known her?
Probably since 2016, maybe.
How did y'all first meet?
Her and another neighbor were walking that lives closer to her, and they walked out the little road by where I live, and I was cutting grass. And the other neighbor that I knew, I'd done a lot of work for her, and they stopped and just got talking, and she introduced me to Melanie.
And is that Sherry Cooper?
Yeah.
Did you know her? Did you know her Sherry? Is that what you knew her by? Did you know Sherry Cooper by Sherry or Sharon?
Sherry's all I've ever known her by.
And where was she from?
Minnesota, maybe.
Not
Up
from
north.
Georgia?
No.
Different accent than you?
Huh?
She had a different accent?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not like my accent, but just not a Georgian
Right,
accent.
right.
And about how long did the three of y'all kind of interact and know each other?
They walked, and we'd just see each other, see them at the restaurants. They'd go to eat at the restaurants. And my youngest daughter went and played with Melanie's grandkids when they were in town.
And you were previously married,
I was years. Yeah.
and your wife has some issues with, I guess, drugs a little bit.
Right. Right. Mhm.
And you kind of adopted her daughter
Right.
and raised her.
Right.
And so how many children do you consider you have, including your youngest that you raised to? How many?
Well, I got two of my own and her, so three. Yeah.
But she's your daughter too?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Y'all close family?
Yep.
Now, do you remember back in July, I think it was around July 7th of 2018, Detective Kuykendall and Detective Pope from the sheriff's office came out and talked to you?
Mm-hmm.
Were you expecting them to come and talk to you?
Figured so,
When did you hear about something happening to Gary?
I guess it was that day or the day before, maybe.
And how did you hear anything?
Melanie texted me.
She texted and tell you?
Mhm.
What do you remember her saying about it?
She just said, well, she first said Gary was missing, and then she said they found him in a burn pile.
And do you remember what day exactly that
I don't.
if he was found on July 5th, do you know what day it was that she let
Probably
you
the 4th, maybe. The day before, maybe.
But you're not certain of the date.
No, I'm not.
And that was basically all that she said to you?
Right.
Welcome back to the
And
jury
y'all-
box,
tell the
Miss
jury-
Steph 219. You're
How
not late,
often
you're
would
tardy.
you ever walk with
Hey,
her?
Joy
You
Barnes,
I
welcome
never
back.
walked with them.
You're not late, you're tardy.
basically just hang out with
We
them,
just
eat
getting
lunch a little
started.
bit?
They'd be at Cherokee Ranch and eat lunch. And, we'd all went up there to eat lunch when we was working or whatnot. Yeah.
Never mind, I was late
Family,
myself.
Ferris family,
Never
who all did
mind.
you interact with
Scott and her's the only ones I knew.
And how much interaction did you have with Scott?
Just eating lunch and seeing him on the road at Tractor Supply.
And did you have any problems with Scott?
No.
Did y'all get along?
Yeah.
How about you and the defendant? Any problems?
Do what?
Did you and the defendant, Melody, have any problems?
No.
Did y'all get along?
Yeah, I thought she was just a good neighbor, you know.
Did you ever go to her house?
I went over there to pick up Emma a time or two. Yeah.
Emma's the youngest.
Right. She's my youngest daughter.
And did you ever go in the house or anything like that?
Inside the kitchen. Yeah.
Now, how many times do you think you actually physically stepped on their property?
The most 4 or 5 times.
How much time when you would go on the property would you spend there?
A few minutes.
Anything longer than 15 minutes?
No.
Now, around what I want to talk to you about is you've met with us and talked to us, haven't you? And we've gone through your timeline to see where you were around July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Did you remember that?
Yes.
What I want to do now is kind of go back through your timeline. I think on July 3rd of 2018, you talked about, were you working on some polo fields?
Yes, I was working on the post road on the polo fields. Mm-hmm.
Just tell the jury about on July 3rd, kind of your day, what you were doing, where you were at.
We were stripping grass off of a grown-up horse arena and putting down new footing, which is M10's gravel dust, and which that took us several days.
And what is that? What type of material is that? How's that?
It's
different?
gravel dust. It's ground up granite. Yeah.
Where was this at?
Polo Fields is on Post Road that runs between Highway 20 and Highway 9.
How long were you there doing this job?
We were there about a week.
And on July 3rd, what would have been your kind of?
We usually went to work 8:30 to 9 and worked till 5 or 6.
And on July 3rd, afterwards, where'd you go? I think you went to a Mexican restaurant?
Yeah, I went to Pueblo's up on 306 and met all my kids, actually. We had dinner.
Where is this restaurant exactly at? What city?
It's on 306 and 400 at the Publix restaurant up there.
All right. If you were standing there in that, looking at the kind of the mall, the place where Publix is and the restaurant, describe it to us. What would you see? If you're standing there looking at the front door of the restaurant.
Hadn't been there since then, but it's to the left of the Kroger store. That's all I can tell you.
About what time do you remember y'all had dinner that night?
6-ish, 6:30.
Were you? I don't know if celebrate is the right word. I believe one of your oldest daughter just came back from the Marines.
My middle daughter just came back from the Marines. Yeah.
Were y'all celebrating or just having a time there?
Yeah.
Now, after that, where did you go on July 3rd? What time was that over and where'd you go?
Emma and I went back home.
Remember what time you got home?
Probably 8:30, 9.
And what'd y'all do that night?
Went to bed.
Anything out of the ordinary?
No.
Anything make you go, huh, yeah, I really remember that and that was strange?
No.
So
Y'all may be wondering why I picked this. You have to pay attention and have faith in me. Judge D. Litt, I assure you, his testimony is absolutely one of the best of this trial.
So you were home. Your testimony is that on July 3rd, you were at your working at the polo fields and then at the restaurant and then home.
Right.
Were you on the Ferris property at all on July 3rd?
No.
Have anything to do with the property on July 3rd?
No.
Now, on July 4th, I think we kind of joked about, but 4th of July, obviously, you're getting up that Wednesday. I think you went to breakfast.
Went to breakfast. Yeah.
Where'd you go? Was it Macedonia?
Probably went to. I can't remember if I went to Waffle House or if I went to Cherokee Ranch. Probably went to Cherokee Ranch.
If you said it was Waffle House earlier, would that have been a place you do go, the Waffle House?
Occasionally, not much.
And why would you go to somewhere like that on the 4th?
About the only place open.
When you went to breakfast that morning, was anybody with you?
No.
What'd you do after that?
Came back, Emma and I piddled around, and then we went to my other daughter's in-laws for a cookout that day. And we were there all afternoon.
Who was all there at the cookout?
All 3 of my daughters, son-in-laws.
Welcome back, and gang.
2 son-in-laws,
Good evening.
And one of the son-in-law's parents.
And where was this at? And to kind of, if you could play a video, kind of speak a video of what you saw there. Tell us what was going on the 4th at the cookout.
They were watching ball games, and we just sit around and they cook ribs and hamburgers, and wasn't a whole lot happening.
Was it outside, inside, or something?
Both.
And what type of food and stuff were you having?
Ribs, and they had hamburgers and hot dogs.
And again, whose house was this?
This
These
was my
attorneys be asking some crazy
son-in-law's
questions.
parents.
And where's that at?
This
It
has
was
nothing to do
about
with the
a mile
case.
and a half up close to the campground, past the campground actually,
Okay, and how far from your house?
mile and a half.
Oh, that's why.
And how far is your house from the defendant's Ferris's house?
That's why.
Quarter of a mile.
So basically, right there on
But
top
it's
of
on,
each other.
yeah, it's on another road. Yeah.
And on July 4th, how long were you there at the cookout?
We were there till after supper.
What'd you do after that?
Went home. Emma and I went home.
Emma was with you?
Yeah. Oh,
Anyone else?
no.
Was Emma staying with, I guess Beth was your ex-wife's name?
Yeah.
Was Emma staying with Beth at all during this time? Or
I think so. I don't remember. There was a time frame there. She had her for a day or two, but that day I don't remember.
And when you were at your house on July 4th, did you ever leave after getting back to the home?
No.
Did you ever go to Ferris property?
No.
So on July 4th of 2018, did you ever step even a toe on their property?
No.
Did you ever get outside going to your house? Did you ever go down there close to their driveway or
No.
anything like that? Do you have anything to do with their property on July 4th?
So I guess he didn't do it. Don't forget
Now,
who done it.
afterwards, I think, did you meet Scott at some point after Gary was found murdered? Did you ever see him at a gas station later on?
Right.
Do you remember what y'all were talking about?
I just told him I was sorry to hear about what had happened to his dad.
And did he say anything to you that you remember that was out of the ordinary or
Not
anything like
really.
that?
No, not really. I mean, he was upset, as natural anybody would be.
And we mean upset. What was it? How
Well, I
was it?
mean, he was grieving over the loss of his dad.
Do you remember what gas station that was at and when that was?
It was a marathon up at Ducktown, I think.
Ducktown?
Yeah.
How long after the 5th, after Gary was found, was this? July 5th is when his remains were
I
found.
can't remember. It was a day or two. May have been a week. I don't know. That's been over 6 years ago.
Did he say anything to you that made you think it was odd or anything like that?
No.
Did you end up telling anybody that he
No.
said something? Was there anything that you recollect that he said that made you think, oh, Scott has something to do with this or anything like that? Did y'all didn't have any problems, you and Scott?
No.
Sir, I wanted to make sure I clarify your relationship with the defendant. Were y'all ever romantic or anything like
Here
that?
we go.
Friends only?
Friends only.
But you would talk to her, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Tell the jury about how often and how you would talk to her.
We talk frequently, just neighborly. I don't know how to explain it really. I mean, there was no relationship or anything there. It was just a neighbor. Relationship, it just, there was a couple other, with Sherry, I talked to her and did work for Sherry. I never did anything for the Farrises.
So you did some type of work for Sherry.
Oh yeah, I did.
She like it?
Oh yeah,
How would you describe your relationship with Sherry?
just typical neighbor.
Fair to say you're a little bit closer to Melody than Sherry?
Do I now?
Is it fair to say you're a little bit closer to Melody,
Not really.
about the same?
Yeah, I mean, just typical neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be unusual for you to talk to the defendant by phone or by text almost every day or sometimes?
It was a possibility, yeah.
And we were able to go over some records from your phone
Right,
to show that you were talking with her. Do you remember that?
right. Mhm.
And those, when we show you those, were those text messages, to the best of your recollection, fair and accurate messages between you and the defendant?
Oh yeah.
Well, When law enforcement came to talk to you, they asked you about, did you know the defendant's phone number? So you remember that?
I don't know. I didn't know it just right off the hat, but I gave it to him, I think.
Right. You gave them actually 2 numbers, didn't you?
Right.
Do you remember the first number for her that you had, or one of the numbers?
I couldn't tell you what the numbers were.
The 678-389-1987. Does that ring a bell? How about the 678-592-9029?
No, I mean, I had her in the phone as Melanie, and that was it. Yeah.
I think you had it as Melody, and then the other one is Melody Farris. Is that right?
Right.
But you would agree with me that you had 2 numbers for the defendant in your phone. Is that
Right,
yes?
right, yeah.
And you agree with me that y'all would text and talk about things in a relationship or stuff going on with her and Gary and Scott?
True.
Did she ever express to you her frustrations she would have with Gary? Ever say anything about Gary?
Nothing. No, not particularly. No.
But some things.
Yeah.
How about Scott?
No.
Not really, Scott?
No.
Was she ever saying bad things about Scott?
I smell a setup.
Ever
Is it
saying
just
she's
me?
angry at Scott? No. Ever saying that Scott was mad at her or mad at Gary or anything like that?
Never to me. Mm-mm.
So no issues that she would tell to you about Scott having problems with her or Gary?
No.
And did you really talk to Gary at all, or how much to do with
No,
Gary?
I knew Gary, but I didn't ever talk to him.
What was he like to you?
He was quiet. Only time I'd ever seen him was at the
Welcome to the Little Lane Jury Box,
He'd
Connie.
eat and
Do
he'd
tell.
speak, and that was it. He was quiet.
Quiet guy? Was he quiet?
Yeah.
Cherokee Ranch, y'all eat there a lot?
Right. Morning, noon, and night.
The home center evidence now, State's Exhibit Braswell 1. It's a extraction report from Cellbrite that we've done.
No objection.
Good. May I approach the witness? I'm going to show you. I'm going to get going to come up on the screen here, and I'm going to walk you through some of this stuff here. I know you've seen that. We asked you some questions about that, but if you can't see it or something, let me know. Okay. When law enforcement talked to you, you cooperated with them, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
In fact, how many people do you know at the sheriff's office or knew?
Bob Post, Joe Satterfield, Broadus Ledford.
Before we go any further, one thing I find absolutely amazing about this is just by being a neighbor of someone, like in this type of situation, that allows for your phone records to be subpoenaed. That is so strange to me. So because I talked to my neighbor downstairs, she got my phone number, I got her phone number. We talk like good, passing neighbors. If something, God forbid, was to happen down there, simply because we didn't talk or live in close proximity and have some type of neighborly, they can actually subpoena my phone records. Y'all don't find that strange? Oh, okay, want to make sure, Connie. All right, welcome.
I don't know right off.
You know a good bit?
Yeah.
Just from growing up here. Any
Right.
problems with the sheriff's office?
Do I?
Any problems with the sheriff's office?
Oh, no, never.
Were the detectives, were they nice to you?
Oh, yeah.
Did they threaten you in any way?
No.
Did they yell at you, scream at you?
No.
They have to use bad cop, good cop with you? Did they, from the best part that you know, was it a nice conversation?
Oh, yeah.
Were they gentlemen with you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you resist or try to hide anything?
No.
Did you give them permission to take your phone and download it and get all the information?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Where'd you have to go to do that and get the
To
phone?
the precinct and Freeholm.
Free home?
Mhm.
Did it take very long? Do you remember?
Hour, maybe.
And when they took it, did they give the phone back to you?
Oh, yeah.
So a cordial interaction. This is the exhibit. Let me.
He set him up.
Basically, they took your phone and got the information off. Is that
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right here, 404-683-1829.
Mm-hmm.
What's that number?
That's my phone number.
Now here on page 2 of 15, over here on the left, you see where it says from, and it's got a melody, it's got a number right there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now we know the old area, the first number you dialed, then the area code 678-389. If that was the number you have, and it was in there as melody, that's her number,
Mm-hmm.
the 1987.
I guess, yeah.
All right,
I
so
don't know which one was which.
October 10th, 2016 timestamp here, about 10:21 p.m. And so this is from her, looks like to you. And it says, does that say finally quitting, can go no more, finish in the morning? Is that what it says right there?
Yes, sir.
Let's see if
Yes,
that-
sir.
that part. And then looks like the next message there, the 1829, that's your number? Probably help if I
Yeah,
highlight
right,
it
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
And then to the 1987 number for melody, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you respond, is that dang it, girl?
Yeah.
And then same conversation, 10/10/2016, from the 1987 number for the defendant. Does it read, he wouldn't even go get me and Scott food?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, now I remember.
Now at about 10:24 p.m., you respond to her and you say, is this correct? You say, wow, maybe he'll get hungry one day and won't have anyone to get him any food. Was that your response?
I guess I don't remember all of this, but it's there, so I guess I did.
Okay.
Now he getting embarrassed. I felt so bad for him.
And then October 10th, 2016, 10:26 p.m. from the 1987 number for Melody.
Mm-hmm.
The text was from her to you. My response to his fit he threw was, I hope you die alone in a gruesome death. You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
My. He said, yeah, now what? I see it.
I don't remember that, but
Oh my, okay.
You don't dispute if they dumped your phone. It is what it is.
it is.
No,
what it
his
is.
wife had a drug problem. They divorced. And he raising her child, a younger child.
And then you respond by saying, there you go. He's going to push you over the edge. See that right here?
I can't see that up there, but
If I make it bigger there.
is that
Child,
on
now
page
he can't
3 here?
see.
Yes, sir.
Okay, where's your problem?
This is not on.
Screen's not on.
Let's turn that on.
Oh. I'll just read off of the paperwork.
That'll work. Oh, no, it seems to be flashing.
Hmm.
Judge, I don't know if it's just.
Is it unplugged? Maybe down there on that part.
I'll look at it and like, just show them on the document where it is.
He is happy for the moment of distraction, okay?
The whole time Shaw was here?
Page 3.
This has got to be so embarrassing for him to be 68 years old, caught up in this type of thing. Okay. Phil,
Works different every time we use it. Start. So right there. And then we'll just go.
baby Jill gonna get her walk in. She gonna need her a dog sled and some snowshoes.
It could be. And if you can see that.
Much respect to you, Jill, for your commitment, girl.
All right, so let's go. Your page 2 there.
All right, we back on track.
Page 3. There you go. He's going to push you over the edge. You see that?
Yeah.
All right, that's your response, and then
And that
see
part.
her reply to you.
Mm-hmm.
At 10:10, October 10th, 2016, 10:29 p.m.
Right.
I know, and that scares me. Told him finally to go where it could not even see or hear him. It would be in his best interest. Did she say anything else to you about what he had done to make her feel like that?
No, I have no clue what it was other than didn't get nothing to eat.
Do you ever remember her saying anything else to you about hoping that he would die a gruesome death or be gone?
No.
You didn't remember that time.
And you go on, there's some more messages here, but did y'all ever talk about guns or anything?
Not that I recall.
Do you remember her asking you anything about guns or shots being
All
fired
right,
in the
VA, we'll
neighborhood?
keep your spot.
No, I mean, there's a guy that lived between where they lived and I lived that shot a lot. But I don't remember her ever per se saying anything about
I didn't
shots.
see him. Y'all gonna leave him alone. He's just a good neighbor.
Let me see the RIF report. I'm going to ask you a question. There's
Yeah,
some more
he
text
supposed to
messages
attack
going on, but I want to ask you about specifically. Right here, this starting right here. See that? We're on page 15 of this
Wait a
report. Now, these
minute.
aren't all your messages.
I didn't see
These
that.
are just some, but I
Hold
want
on, y'all are so silly. Let me see. It must be right there, right? Let me see. Now y'all got me reminded to see. Did he cool on the cool? I don't think he did. That man, he didn't do that. Let me not get caught up with y'all. Y'all,
those two using the for
Let me see.
family.
Right.
y'all got me messing up. Hold on, okay. Yeah, they messy.
Right here, this starting right here. See that?
It is some type of slut shaming, right?
We're on page 15 of this report. Now, these aren't all your messages. These are just some, but I want to go to page 15.
Okay.
And
And
1829,
I think
so we
it
got
proves
your
her
number from
disdain
you
for her
to her
husband.
1987 number, and there's a question. You see,
And then she
shooting,
talked
you
about
see that?
taking his life. You know, I think that's the point
And
too.
then from her, she says, no, laugh out loud. That's on May 4th, 2017, about 6:26 p.m. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And then from you to her, the message is, you say, okay, see that?
Yeah.
And then on May 4, 2017 at 6:27 p.m., from her number, 1987, she texts you and says, I'm not that bad a shot.
Right.
Lord, not, oh, I'm not that bad a shot. Remember they just asked him, did they ever talk about guns?
You two, you respond, laugh at LOL. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that later on from her to you, same shooting as Saturday or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally from her, 1987 number to you, May 4th, 2017, 6:20 p.m. And she says, text handgun question mark. You see that?
Right.
Did y'all ever talk about guns or shooting?
No.
He's still sticking to his story. He's like, nope.
And did you ever see her with 2 cell phones?
Yeah,
And when was that?
when she was walking,
And what would she be doing on those cell phones?
carrying them. Sometimes she'd be on one,
Was she talking on one?
occasionally.
Out of the 2 numbers, we've got the 1987 number. Of the other number she had, which one would she communicate with you the most?
I don't remember.
Now, did she ever talk to you about Rusty?
Yeah,
Tell the jury what she would say about Rusty.
he was I'm assuming a boyfriend that was in Tennessee that she had known for a long time.
Did you know his name was Rusty Barton or just by Rusty? Did you know his name just Rusty or Rusty Barton?
Rusty Burton.
I said
Did
we
she
got a
say
loud wire
how
tonight,
they
Jill.
met?
You into it tonight.
I think they'd known each other all their lives.
Did she indicate whether or not they were in a romantic relationship at the time?
Yeah.
You kind of make that.
Yep.
I know you don't want to be here.
Oh, I know. But yeah, I'm telling the truth. Yeah.
What would she say they were? How long they had been in a relationship?
I really don't know about that.
She say where they would meet up sometimes.
Chattanooga, different places.
How often would they meet up?
Once a month at least, probably, maybe more.
It was more than that, wasn't
Yeah.
it? It wasn't it?
Probably, yeah.
You knew she was going to meet Rusty during the week?
Welcome back to the Lane
you have a
Trial
sister or
Jury
any
Box,
Rusty?
sister.
No,
Good to see you.
no.
Sir, I'm not saying anything
No.
about you. I'm
No,
just
I know.
asking. You understand? I got a job to do.
No, I know.
Then why you set them up?
Would you just ever ask her what's going on between you and Gary if you got Rusty on the side?
Wasn't in my business.
Didn't want to get involved in that, did you?
No, no.
How would she talk about Rusty?
They were longtime friends, and I guess just been in a relationship for I don't know how long. But
Did you see her talk on the phone to Rusty?
I don't think I'd ever seen her talk to him on the phone.
Did you know she used that one phone to talk to Rusty with?
Yeah.
The other phone, not the main phone, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know which one was which.
Did you know that she would use one phone for him as opposed to using for a family?
Right.
Did she talk about Rusty in front of Sherry while you were there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, actually, that's how I found out was from Sherry.
And how long had you known about Rusty? Do you remember what year it was when you first learned of him?
Pretty much since I met her. I mean, pretty recent after that.
What year would that be?
I want to say 2016, probably. I don't remember.
Did you know about anything that she had on her person or anything because of Rusty? Anything to remember him by?
I have no clue.
She talked to you about anything that they would do besides meeting up?
Mm-mm.
Was she talk to you about it?
Not really.
Did you ever inquire at all about it in any way?
She sent me a few hunting pictures where he'd been hunting and killed a deer or something. But other than that, that's all.
Was he a hunter?
Yeah.
Were you a hunter?
Yeah.
I had that in common.
Mm,
Did you ever see Rusty in Georgia?
no,
Did you ever see Rusty at the property?
no.
Did you ever know whether or not he ever came to the property?
Oh, I have no clue. I mean, I wouldn't know him if he walked in here today.
Sir, to be clear, I want you to look at this jury and answer this question. Did you have anything to do with the death of Gary Farris?
No,
Did you personally get involved in it any way?
no,
Did you help the defendant in any way?
no,
Did you go to the property at any time of this and do anything to aid or abet her in this?
no,
Did you even get close to the property on July 3rd, 4th, and 5th?
no.
Judge, I just have one.
10 minutes.
Well, even though the neighbor making sure they know that he was only a neighbor, a good neighbor, and a casual friend, it seemed like they talked every day, and they caught him up in another seemingly lie, but he may just say he forgot. But they asked them, the attorney set him up yet again and asked them, did they ever discuss guns? And he said, no, not that I reckon, not that I recall. And of course, they was able to bust that wide open. And he wasn't talking about the guns, but she was talking about a gun and about something about she a better shot than what they think. You know, at this point in time, they just got the neighbor really. Oh, yeah. Another thing we found out is that she was telling the neighbor, the defendant, all her business. Okay. This neighbor lived down the road. They was casual friends, only that. And he knew all about the affair with this other guy. He knew about her 2 phones. He knew how many times they were sneaking meet up. Okay. So and that's why I guess they just trying to show at this moment with him being a character witness. I'm pretty sure they just trying to point out the fact that she talked a lot about, with a lot of venom towards her husband, and that she was very flagrant in her cheating on her husband. That's what I would guess. I would assume that's the point of this testimony. Welcome to the Little Age Jury Box, PCG.
All right. Lunch is here, so we're going to go ahead and break. So we'll break for an hour, start back at 1 o'clock.
Okay, one moment. Let me get it keyed up. Real quickly, before we get back started, I want to make this point. Even in 2024, as we can tell, and we've seen this in a couple of trials now, no matter how modernistic we want to be and how all this equal stuff, a woman will absolutely be vilified for their sexuality, right? Their sexual natures, their sexual lifestyles. Right? That's whether she's a single woman or a married woman. It just even now in modern day till today, men and women, the respect deal, the speculation, all those things, I'm trying to say right now, is going to be hugely different when it's a man and when it's a woman. Okay? A man can sit there, have had affairs. Oh yeah, it's not the right thing to do. Oh, he disrespected his vows. Okay. But somewhere in that is an understanding that a man might just be a man. Take that woman, she married and do the same thing. Oh my God, it makes her a bad mother, a bad person, loose, a whore, not to be trusted. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And that's definitely the case right here. And we can see how they just really horning in on her character, which I don't too much respect her character either. I can't believe she was flaunting her affairs like this. Like, golly. Okay, so we get back to testimony here.
Ground rules. All right. Again, we're in uncharted waters. We don't have big, long, complicated trials like this every
about 2006
thing. And
Oh no. All right.
friends. Y'all were just kind of acquaintances.
Well, we were friends, but I mean, that was it. I mean, that was all it was.
Well, no, that's one thing. But y'all were friends,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Talked on almost a daily basis.
Someday, yeah.
Because I mean, just going back and looking at
Right.
the messages that they showed earlier, that was just a clip from about 2016.
Right.
And I mean, it looked like you guys talked a lot. But I'm going to come back to that. But you would say, yeah, we were friends.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you meet Melody?
Like I said, Sherry Cooper was
Who's Sherry Cooper?
Well, she's Sherry Stain. Sherry Cooper lived past Melanie, and they walked a lot
On what road?
on Old Purcell Lane, across Birmingham Road, Old Birmingham Way, and the road ended right there at my house. And the first time I met her, I was cutting grass, and they were walking, and Sherry waved me down and introduced me to Melanie.
So you knew Sherry before Melody?
Oh yeah, a long time.
How long you known Sherry?
I'm gonna say probably 2006 or something.
All right. And what's the nature of y'all's friendship?
Do what?
How did y'all become friends?
Oh, in the horse world.
In the horse world?
Yeah.
Okay.
She had kids.
He looked
with
good for
horses.
68.
I actually did some pasture work and built her a horse arena.
All right. So y'all known each other, and that's about 2016 is when you met Melody, or maybe even
I think
sooner?
So I think it was 16 or 17.
Would it refresh your memory that she moved there in 2013?
It wasn't that soon. No,
Okay.
I didn't meet her then.
All right. So sometime between 2013 and
Right.
2016. But y'all got pretty close as far as friends,
Yeah, just friends. Yeah.
talking daily. All right. Why do you think y'all became good friends?
I don't know. I know her grandkids and my kid were the same age, and they, worked or played together.
All right.
Yeah.
So that maybe that was part of how it kind of.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, there was nothing ever any further than friends. I promise you that.
And again, that's not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I
Sir,
know.
I'm not alleging that. but
Child, they laughing because he keeps saying that. Remember before he started testifying, I say it's gonna be a reoccurring thing. Girl, y'all, he tries to make perfectly clear as look here. I know she might have been a busybody, but she wasn't being a busybody with me. he been having that defensive posture with his arms closed off across his chest. He literally sat down on the stand in this posture. Okay.
what I am trying to get at is that you knew most of her kids and her husband. You knew of them, or at least talked to them, to Melody, about them to Melody, and back and forth.
I didn't know either one of the girls. I knew Scott.
Okay.
And I met Chris one time.
All right, but you knew Scott. All right, so you knew Scott. So let's talk about physical appearance of Scott. How tall would you say Scott Farris was? Is
6'5", 6'6".
big kid, big guy.
Big guy.
All right, how much you think he weighed?
I have no clue. 230, 240, maybe. I don't know.
But he's about 6'5", somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Would you say he's more like 300 pounds or more like 250?
He was in pretty good shape. I mean, he was, I'd say I don't know, 250. I mean, it's hard to judge somebody. I know how much I weigh, and I know how tall I am.
Well, I'm not going to answer that. All right, so, and you met Gary.
Again, how could she have moved a
All right, how tall was Gary? How big was
something
Gary?
man,
Big,
250 to
big
300
How big
pound
is
man?
I'd say he's 6'5",
All right,
better. Yeah.
all right. And how much you think he weighed?
I'm going to say 250, 300.
Somewhere in there?
Yeah.
All right. And how tall, I mean, Melody's been sitting over here most of the trial, but how tall do you think she is?
5'9", maybe. I don't know.
You think 5'9"? How about more like 5'3" or 5'4"?
Well, maybe. She's not very tall.
Okay. And how much, and I know you don't ever ask a woman's weight, but how
Right.
much do you think she weighs?
125, maybe.
Okay. So that you've seen him, you
Right.
physically, but tell me about Scott. Tell me about your interactions with Scott, the best you can. I know you don't want to be here,
Well,
Mr. Bradley.
Never much. I mean, just seeing him eating with her and running into him at Tractor Supply and just on the road. I mean, we talked hunting a little bit because he was a big hunter.
Have you ever discussed or knew about his temper? Did you know about Scott having a temper?
No, not really.
Did you know about Scott serving in Afghanistan?
Yeah.
All right. Did you
Just knew that he
you
did.
knew of it?
Do what?
You knew of it?
I just knew of it. Yeah.
Okay. Did you know of any difficulties that Scott had been having with his dad?
No.
All right. Did you know of any issues that Scott was having financially, meaning he didn't have a job? Did you know that?
Well, I knew he worked there on the farm, but I didn't know if they paid him or what. You know, I knew he worked on the farm, cleaning up and cutting grass and whatnot. You know.
All right. Did you know how he paid for anything or got money?
I thought the truck was Gary's. I didn't know he even had a vehicle or not. You know.
Okay. Did you know if did you ever hear him complain or say anything about having to go get money from Gary all the time to do anything?
No, he never talked about that with me.
Okay. So Mr. Fogus mentioned something, and I don't think you necessarily answered it. It was sometime after July the 5th. I believe you ran into Scott at the gas station up in Ducktown.
I think that's where it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's the one right there on 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you went there, and what did he say? You must have said something in one of the
He was
interviews.
getting fuel, and I was getting fuel, and I mean, we were, just the pump between us.
Right.
And I just told him I was sorry about his dad. I mean, I'd heard about it, and he was just, so you could tell he was suffering from it,
All right. Well, what do you mean? You got to help me out.
Well, I mean, he wasn't crying, but you could tell he was upset because his dad had passed away.
All right. Did he tell you anything?
Huh?
Did he tell you anything?
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
Anything he thought had happened?
No.
All right. And you remember being interviewed in this case?
Being interviewed?
Interviewed?
Yes,
remember that?
yes.
And they did a phone dump of your phone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I want to show you. Well, we'll show you some text messages. If you just take a look at that, there should be about 8 pages there.
All right.
And I can put them on the big. I'm going to put them on the big screen. But if that print's too small.
He always have a problem reading it when there's something he don't want to read.
And you take your time, sir.
Do what?
You take your time to look through them.
Oh, you want
No,
me
he want to hurry up,
Yes,
get
sir.
the hell out of there.
Just thumb through.
He does not want to take his time. Now what they got him reading. They keep setting him up. And think about it. The sword cuts both ways, right? So if this is a bad look for her character, it's a bad look for his character. He knows that she's a married woman. He knows her husband. He knew her family. And to find out that he keeping all this conversation and have people assuming the worst, it's not a good look for him either, Oh, yeah, he ready to go. And they shouldn't have told him to take his time. Let's see. Thank y'all for supporting this content. We're an hour in. We're going to be starting the next testimony is going to be from one of the adult kids, and we'll come back and finish his testimony tomorrow. We'll start tonight and come back and finish tomorrow. I want to definitely remind you guys that we started a new daytime trial. Our current trial that's happening is actually a hearing. We start that at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're able to join us for that tomorrow, it seems to be very interesting.
Okay.
All right, thanks, sir. And it should be able to come up on your screen, but and you can see it. Absolutely. This time I was asked to move into evidence defense exhibits 1 through 8, Braswell.
Good thing she didn't send him no picture. Yeah, Tiki, it might be a little much for you, honey.
Mr. Braswell, I'm showing you some text messages that would be from around the time of July the 3rd, July the 4th, July the 5th, and July the 2nd of 2018 between you and Melody. So this message right here, raining on the hill. Are you familiar with that message? Did that refresh your memory?
Yeah, that was just typical, you know.
All right. Is that from you or from Melody? Can you tell?
That's from her.
All right. And that would be the 1987 number.
Yeah.
And yours would have been 1829?
1829.
All right. And you say simply, yeah, I know. Is that you? Says, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You and Melody talk about the rain. Didn't rain much. Yeah. And that'd be the sum total of the conversations that you guys had on July the 2nd.
Right.
Standard stuff. Did y'all do that a lot?
Yeah.
I didn't put his name in my notes. I just got
So
witness,
July the 3rd.
contract, neighbor. I didn't get his name.
Looks like from Melody to you.
They
Says,
talked
"Good
every day.
morning.
She called them. They
You
talked
going
every morning
hard
and said good morning to each other.
What does that mean to you?
Working.
Okay. And I believe that day you were going to be working on Post Road,
Right.
right? And you responded. How'd you respond, sir?
Hey, yeah, been at it since early.
And that's July the 3rd, 2018. All right. So this would be the morning of July the 4th from Melody to you. It says, good morning, you okay? And you say back what?
Oh wow, that's weird. I just
If you want to, I'm driving.
All right.
wait. Very interesting, right? So if all this was supposed to happen on or about July 4th, and she texting her neighbor, telling him, hey, good morning, how are you? That's very strange, right? Very, very strange and peculiar.
And Melody says, I'm good, working as usual. Will in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing, I think you tried to type okay. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's probably.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you sent okay. All right. That's just on July the 4th, that morning. So later on that day, that afternoon, you say, or she says to you, you having a happy 4th? Is that the way you read that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you say,
So far, so good. Trying to call you. Fixing the road.
Mr. Weaver, I go back. Who was that one from?
oh, that one would have been from, actually, I believe that was from you. You asked if
Yeah,
you,
I asked her, you having a good form.
you asked that. All right,
Yeah.
sorry. And then you say, so far, so good. Melody said, so far, so good. Try calling you, fixing the roll. Did you know where she was going that day?
I have no clue.
All right.
Well, now I'm not sure if that was the day they went to the Lake Lanier Islands or not.
Okay, and I think in a further text message, I think it kind of clears that up.
Right.
All right.
If this the day of,
Then
it don't sound like she
Melody
was plotting
says,
to do
"Try calling
anything
you."
nefarious.
Did y'all talk at all that day? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
BK, rolling, try you later. That's Melody again.
Right.
And then you say,
Well, dang.
well, dang. And on the 4th,
So basically, they talked all day, every day.
Again, later on that evening, you, I believe, texted, what is that?
You still at the island.
So that would be Lake Lanier Island.
Right.
We're almost done, Mr. Braswell. I know like this is a slow, monotonous task, and if I knew how to zoom this thing out, it probably could go quicker. I know you did.
Hey, Sean.
The tape's been a big help.
So we're going to pause it right there. That's pretty much all that we're going to get from him, right? So he was a character witness, and it goes to question, Melody's intentions. She was flagrantly flaunting her affair. She's, obviously fraternizing with the neighbor. It may not be of a sexual nature, but golly, she talked to him every day, seemingly all day, very friendly with him, told him a lot of her personal business, talked ill, she talked badly about her husband to him, talked about what her husband didn't do and how he working her nerves and how he might end up. He tells her, well, one day he gonna, maybe regret losing you or don't have you there. It was, yeah, would y'all think it was a slight flirtation going on between the defendant and her neighbor? I think it was a slight flirtation, kind of like, somebody, when you're doing your little walk around the neighborhood, you hope he outside so he can wink and say, you looking good, girl. That just never really got anywhere or went any further. And it seemed to me like she may have been like, I guess to me, it feels almost like a lonely woman, right? Or a woman that needs or craved a lot of attention. She got her husband, she got the kids, she got a boyfriend. Now she got the man up the street she can flirt with, right? He was up next in the roster, and overwhelmingly, y'all all saying yes. It sounds like you guys believe it was a flirtatious type of relationship. All right, so let's get to the meat and potatoes here, okay? First up on the stand of the adult, look, that's him getting the hell out of there. Let me show y'all. He walked faster out than he did up. Okay, so first up on the stand is Chris Farris, okay, the oldest of the two boys. Yeah, it seemed like she craved a lot of attention. Apparently that was the arrangement, so why not? Right.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Have a seat. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Christopher Wayne
That's
Farris.
fair, lady stuff. That's very fair.
Chris, how is it that you know the defendant in this case?
She's my mother.
And I want to go into a little bit about the background of your family.
Okay.
When did you move to Georgia?
2005.
Where did you
Excuse
move?
me, 1995. Sorry.
Okay. Is it fair to say you're a little nervous?
I'm a little nervous.
Okay.
I mean, it's my first time on this trial. So.
Sure.
A little bit.
And moves the microphone in front of you, and if you'll just talk over
I
it.
don't trust him already.
Okay. Great.
So is that 1995 you said?
Yes, 1995.
And where did you move from?
Hoover, Alabama, suburb of Birmingham.
A suburb of Birmingham.
Correct.
How old were you?
15.
And do you have siblings?
Yes.
Okay. And how old were your siblings when you moved?
My brother would have been 12. My brother Scott. My sister Emily. I should probably know this, but I would say 5 or 6, and then Amanda would have been, she's the youngest, would have been around, I guess, 4 or 5.
Why did you move here from Alabama in 1995?
My father came to open the Atlanta office for Byrne Foreman, his law firm.
How long had he been with Byrne Foreman when you moved here in 1995?
So about 5 or 6 years, I would imagine. So that was yep, about that.
Were you around when Gary went to law school?
I was.
How old were you?
Well, I started kindergarten when he started law school. So
5 or 6?
5 or 6, yeah, correct.
So you got to see him work through law school?
I did.
And how was that?
It was great. I mean, from what I remember, I mean, he used to take me to the law school and we'd play laser tag. And when he would work security, he had a job working security. So I had a lot of, for a little kid, a big law school to run around in. It was, it was fun.
So in law school, did he also work for Burn Foreman?
I think he clerked with them in the summer from what I remember.
Okay. And then in 1995, he came here to open the Atlanta office for Burn Foreman.
Correct.
Did Gary like his job?
Absolutely, yes.
And when you moved here, what city did you move to? In Georgia?
Alpharetta, Georgia.
What school did you end up going to? What high school?
Milton High School.
Okay. And after high school, what did you do?
Went to the University
Hey,
of
pretty
Alabama.
outstanding girl. You
For
need
how
to
long?
call me.
I left there in 2002, so it would have been 3.5, 4 years.
Did you eventually come back to Georgia?
I did.
Okay. What did you do after that?
I had like a job at a local restaurant, and then I met my first wife right around then.
When you were working at the restaurant, did you live at the home in Alpharetta or did you live somewhere else?
When I was working at the restaurant, I lived at home.
At home. And so you said then you met your first wife.
Mm-hmm.
What was her name?
Kendall Lee.
Okay. And how long were you with Kendall Lee?
Well, we eventually got married and had 2 children, and we separated in 2007.
What are your children's names?
Ella Grace and Addison Marie.
When were they born?
Ella was born September of 2004. Addison.
Let me pause really quickly here. You guys remember during the sentencing? Remember we watched the sentencing, right? We didn't watch the trial. We watched the sentencing. And remember when Melody, the defendant, was talking about her kids, and then one of them, she say, he was out. He had to come get her grandkids out the street. He was drunk and stuff. Had them kids out in the street. That's this son.
In August of 2006.
Once they were born, did you guys ever leave Georgia?
Oh yeah, about a couple weeks after Ella, the oldest, was born, we moved to Maine.
How long were you in Maine for?
So that would have been 2004, about 3 years.
I want to go back to your parents and their background a little bit. We talked about Gary's job. What did your mom do when she was, when Gary was in law school?
Homemaker, took care of us, took care of the house.
Kept her busy. There were 4 of you.
Correct, yes.
And when you were in Alabama, did you guys have family around?
Oh yeah.
Who was around?
Both sets of grandparents, both aunts, my uncle. They were in Tuscumbia, Muscle Shoals area.
And is that where you were before coming to Alpharetta in 1995? Muscle Shoals area?
No, I was in Hoover. Muscle
Okay.
Shoals is the northwest corner of Alabama. So we were, from Tuscaloosa, which is where he attended the University of Alabama Law School, then went to work for Burn Foreman, which was in Hoover. Well, it was in Birmingham. We lived in Hoover, and then we moved to Alpharetta in 1995.
And all of your family?
Of course, we will definitely do that living. I want to just definitely pray that your daughter gets to safety. Pray that her property and what she's having there at home, what she got to, what they call it, evacuate from. I hope that she doesn't suffer much loss there, you know, and that you don't be too worried, you know. Most definitely. Let us know too. Keep us posted.
Family stayed in Alabama, essentially. The family you just mentioned.
Yes, correct.
Did you learn when you were in Alabama a lot about how your parents grew up?
Absolutely, yes.
And who did you learn that information from?
I would say both of them. My father would talk all the time about his growing up and things he would do. And, you know, my mother would talk about it as well.
Okay,
What would
no
your
worries.
mother share with you about her upbringing?
Mentioning how they lived in, you know, Nashville for a time, and working at the hardware store in Muscle Shoals, and that's what really comes to mind at first.
So you mentioned a hardware store. Tell the jury a little bit about that.
So my grandfather owned an Ace Hardware store in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and I really enjoyed going there as a child. I mean, it was great. You know, you could run around and play and, you know, build things with the little tools. And
first sign of real emotion from the
woodworking
defendant
things.
that I saw.
I always enjoyed getting up with my grandfather and going to Burger King or McDonald's for breakfast. I got a big kick out of that. And it was a great time. And I really enjoyed, my grandfather was a huge Alabama football fan, and, you know, he loved to talk about football. And so I always would enjoy people coming in to talk to him about the football team. And I think that's kind of where my, you know, love for football in Alabama kind of came from, as well as my father.
And when you mentioned this grandfather, are you talking about Melody's dad?
Yes.
And the one who owned the Ace Hardware store?
That is correct.
Okay. Was he a hunter as well?
Carl? No, not that I ever knew.
Did he own guns?
Yes.
About how many guns did he
Now,
how would he remember that?
How many?
From 5 or 6 years old.
He would take us to shoot, you know, 22 rifles at this outside of town, and it was like a rock quarry. So I know of those, and then I knew of. I remember when we would go do that, he would shoot pistols, but I would not know how many guns he owned.
Sure. Did Melody grow up shooting guns?
I don't know that.
And do you know what happened to Carl? Eventually?
Yeah, I know. Yes, I do.
Okay, can you share with the jury?
He had a heart attack and was in ICU for a pretty long time. I assume ICU for I think a week or two at least before he eventually passed away.
What year was that?
It would be 2007, or excuse me, 2007, 1997. I apologize. These 2000s and the 90s get me. 1997. He actually suffered a heart attack on my 17th birthday.
Okay. You were already here in Georgia when
we were. Passed. That is correct.
Okay. I want to move along a little bit and jump ahead to your parents' marriage.
Okay.
At what point did you learn that your parents had a little bit of a rough marriage?
Not until the late 2000s, 2008, 2009, after I had moved back from Atlanta, or moved back from Maine back to Atlanta.
Okay, so you and Kendall Lee had moved to Maine and you had already moved back.
Yeah, I moved back. Yes, okay. Correct.
What caused you to learn about the trouble in their marriage?
My father told me.
Okay. When was that?
I would say late 2008 to early 2009 is when I first got wind of that from him.
Why did he share that with you?
I don't really know why he did. Why he initially started sharing things like that with me, but once he did, he continued to share things like that with me.
And you said that was in the late 2000s?
Correct.
And did he continue to share those troubles with you up until he died?
Oh, yes, 100%.
At any point, did you learn about your mother's relationship with Ted Wiley?
Yes.
When did you learn about that?
Well, the dates, I'm not quite sure. I want to say suspicion-wise, probably somewhere around late 2008, 2009. And then when there was an incident with financially, when it was really like brought to the forefront.
You mentioned suspicion.
Yeah.
What caused suspicion to you?
Well, I think what my dad told me is he was kind of suspicious. My brother, I believe, was the one who kind of initially had those suspicions. But my suspicion, I always thought Ted Wiley was just a little bit too, I don't know, like, I guess.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it right here because there's a lot going on, right? So Ted Wiley is the first known affair, okay, that Melody had. And this was an affair that was found out by the family. Mind you, this is her oldest son, and he recalls it very clearly. Because she had an affair with her brother-in-law. Her first affair was with Ted Wiley. Ted Wiley was the boyfriend of the deceased victim's sister. And I'm going to go one step further, because I kind of mentioned this earlier. I do believe because of the fact that she was more so outed and known and found out about her affairs, that this really set the tone for how her children treated her, how her children looked at her. Dad could do no wrong, mom scandalous. Okay, so that's my thoughts. And now that I stated it and kind of put it out there, let me know what y'all think as we watch the children's testimonies. Okay, I'm gonna ask that to you guys again later on. Yeah, she did. So, and he remembered this. He's recalling this as a child.
Maybe flirtatious with my mother.
Who is Ted Wiley?
Ted Wiley was actually in a relationship with my Aunt Sherry.
Did
for
you
years.
Did you know him personally?
Oh yeah, I mean he'd been around for a long time. I remember when I was a child. I mean, not that old, and maybe 7 or 8 years old, and that's when I don't remember the dates, but I was young.
So you knew of Ted Wiley long before any, as you say, suspicions of Ted and your mother.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
How well did you know him? Would you hang out with him, have conversations with him?
Oh yeah, he was very friendly. I remember, Christmases, we would always go to Christmas at my grandparents, Mama and Papa, which is my father's parents. Every year, Ted would be there, and he'd bring a football, and we'd, throw the football around, and he was always very kind, and he was a funny guy. He was part of the family.
Did you see Ted and Melody around each other in the late 2000s?
Okay, I promise this is my last pausing until we get to the end of the night. But I just took a little sneak peek at the sentencing, and it's definitely Scott Okay. It's definitely Scott who the defendant at her sentencing. She turned around and she say, not only did I not do it, I know who did it. Scott, you did this. You killed your son. I was like, what? So it was Scott, the younger brother. This is Chris, the older brother. Scott lived at the farm and he literally worked there, lived there. Chris lived on his own and had women and children, and he just, mooshed off his dad from a distance.
Yes,
Did you see them interact with one another?
yes,
And did anything stand out to you at that time?
yes.
Tell the jury about that.
I had ridden up to Florence, Alabama with my mother. I was actually picking up a vehicle that was my grandmother's. And we stayed at Ted's house, and he was sitting next to my mother. I was laying on the couch.
Welcome to the Lit Lane Jury Box, Catherine Paul. Good evening.
Still watching TV, or if I would maybe was kind of in and out of drifting off to sleep. And I remember Ted and my mother sitting next to each other, and I just kind of thought it was just weird and uneasy. But this was actually November of 2008. So now that I think about that, yeah, it was November 2008. So I think that would probably be when my suspicions really began to arise.
And
You sure
how
got
did
a
you
great
know,
memory for a kid,
How
huh?
were your suspicions confirmed?
I was living in Buckhead with my ex-wife, Jenna, and my father told me, he's like, I need you to come up
Oh, he wasn't a
tonight
kid.
and have dinner with me. I said, okay. He said, meet me at Outback Steakhouse, the corner of Jones Bridge, Stage Bridge, and Alpharetta. And he sat me down and he said, Chris, I don't think we're going to be able to have Christmas this year. And he began to explain why we wouldn't. He told me that my mother had withdrawn, I believe, $50,000 from a home equity line of credit without his knowing about it, and he told me, I don't know if we're going to be able to have Christmas this year because of this.
Who was at that dinner?
I think I know I was there, and I think one of my sisters, I think Amanda was there too, but I can't be sure about that.
What year was that?
Oh, that's a good question. It would have either been Christmas, right before Christmas of 2009. If I had to guess, that would be it. But it's been so long, I don't know the exact year.
And what happened after that? Between your father and mother?
Well, I know he filed for divorce.
How do you know about that?
Well, I got wind of it because I had stopped at the house in Alpharetta to use the restroom because I had a job where I drove around a lot, and I would stop in to use the restroom and or say hello. It's my parents' house, and I come to the door, and the door's open, and my sister's black lab is running around in the front yard, and there's a lady at the front trying to. What I come to find out very soon after that is serving her divorce papers. I called my father and I said, what's going on? And he said, well, I'm serving your mother with divorce papers. And that's how I found out.
I promise y'all, high drama.
And
They
when
got
was
it.
that? What year was that?
I would say either 2010 or 2011. If I had to say, I would say probably 2010.
And where was your mom at the time?
She had locked herself in an upstairs bedroom and refused to come out to talk, I guess, to avoid getting served.
At any point, did your mom leave your dad?
you clarify what leave means?
Leave the house for a significant period of time.
Yes.
Can you tell the jury about that?
She would leave and be up in Florence, Alabama for months at a time. Weeks, sometimes months.
How did you know where she was going?
My father would tell me.
Was that around the same time as the Ted Wiley?
Okay, so I'm breaking my promise. I'm not gonna make any more promises that I'm not gonna mute it. You know, this, hey, this is the best of trial. I'm gonna give more commentary. At this point in time, I'm having a big problem with the fact, you know, that the victim here, who's unalive, Scott Farris, I'm having a real problem with how he handled a lot of their personal marital business. It seemed like to me, from just this first son's testimony, that he did a really good job of trying to paint a picture of their mother or to alienate them from her. You know? Oh, there you go, B.A. Sagittarius said, okay, right. The daddy was messy. He sure is telling a whole lot to these kids before she even made up his mind whether he wanted to truly divorce from her or not. You know? And to come to find out, he had been having affairs too. He just truly kept his way more hidden. The mama wasn't able to talk bad about him because she didn't know. Oh, I'm getting mad. Let me not get mad, child. Let's continue. Let's continue.
Yes.
Affair. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what prompted your dad to file divorce papers?
Thank
Yes.
you, Connie. We try, child.
Did they end up getting divorced?
No.
Do you know what happened?
She came home. He called me one day and said, she's coming home. I want you to forgive your mother and accept her back.
Did you do that?
I told him I would. But I would say I gave it my best try.
I want to go back a little bit to when you mentioned you moved to Maine.
Sure.
And you have two daughters. And did you have both at the time you moved to Maine, or just
No, that was 2 weeks after Ella was born. Ella's my oldest daughter.
Okay. And why'd you move to Maine?
Well, because we didn't have any money, and my wife, the mother of my children's parents, had a house in Maine on Lake Sebago, this beautiful house, and they said, hey, come live up here. And I had visited Maine a couple times, and I was all for it.
So he's a professional moocher.
React to that move.
They weren't happy about it. My mother was not happy, and my father, he understood, but if I had to say, I don't think he was happy about it.
Thank you for the cash out.
Prior to moving,
And thank you for the cash up
you ended
earlier
up having,
today. Appreciate y'all.
Addison in Maine.
Yes.
And did your mom come up and help out with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She was very supportive.
Oh yeah, she was great.
And she's always been supportive with your daughters.
Yes, very.
As was your dad.
Very much so.
They love your daughters.
Yes.
I want to move forward a little bit. You mentioned this line of credit that your mother took without your dad's knowledge.
Yeah.
Did that change? Did that affect their relationship moving forward to your?
Okay, this is my last time pausing it before we end. I just want to definitely say big prayers up to all of the lit laners and all of the true crime lit laners. You know, the lit lane jury box, I should say. If you live out there in California, if you got family out there in California, you know, I hope that everybody comes out of this thing safe and that it's over quickly for you guys. Okay. And keep us posted. Keep me posted.
Knowledge.
It affected it financially, I know, and I think it affected it at some degree, you know, his trust for her, you know, I can't speak for him, obviously, but I know for sure it affected it financially for sure.
How did you know that?
Well, he basically told me he wasn't going to let that happen again. So I assume that, well, I know he basically took away her ability to be able to do that.
What does that mean?
I'm not really, I mean, he didn't share details with me at the time.
That's very important what he just said, y'all.
But
What was your understanding of
Who
your
them
mom's
people?
access to their finances?
Okay, listen.
before this happened with the HELOC, that they just shared everything. You know, it was
When you say
They hadn't-
HELOC, what is it that you're talking about?
home equity line of credit.
Okay, so before you're talking about before that.
Yeah.
Okay, they shared everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember anything other than they had a checking account and
And then how did
was
it change?
husband and wife. I'm not sure exactly.
Okay.
So if he's not sure exactly, okay, if he's not sure exactly how the finances changed, why would he imply like it was a big change, right? Why would he say after the affair things changed? After he found out about the equity loan, things changed, and then when she directly asked him or questioned him about how did things change, right? Then all of a sudden he forgot. But yet again, here go another example of the victim. God rest his soul, rest in peace. But here we go again. The victim, the dad, telling and saying all this stuff, to they both of their shared children about this woman. She done stole money and did this with the money and did that with the money, like brainwashing these kids against her. And he is doing his best to badmouth his mother.
Point. With your
Now, who was that
conversation
man
with your
back there?
dad
He looked like somebody
over
related to
time,
him.
Things around the house. Did you ever learn about who the beneficiary of your dad's investments was?
No,
When did you learn all of that information?
I learned it about a year after we lost him.
I want to talk about the months leading up to your father's death.
Okay.
And at any time right before he passed, was he in the hospital?
He was.
What did you know about that?
Can you clarify?
What did you know about him being in the hospital? What information did you have about that?
I was called by the first initial, I think I got a text message from my brother saying we're taking daddy to the hospital. And then I got some sort of communication from my mother saying, that he was in the hospital or we were taking him to the hospital.
Did you know why?
My father would have he would call them his spells, okay, where he would be very lethargic, almost, how can I put this? Just very, very tired, couldn't stay awake, didn't feel well. That's really the best way I can describe it.
Did you ever witness one of them?
I never did, actually, never.
How long had he been having those?
At least for a few years, on and off. I don't know exactly how long though.
And so
Now,
that
y'all
was
pay
your
close
understanding of why he
attention
was
to this
admitted
next
the
part.
hospital.
Listen
Correct.
very closely.
When was that?
That would be April, I think early April of 2018.
Did you go visit him in the hospital?
I did. As soon as I found out that he was there, I rushed up there.
And how did he appear to you when he was in the hospital?
Fine.
Was he acting fine, or was he acting differently?
He seemed 100% okay. Like, I ran up there as fast as I could because it was described to me that he was in very, very bad shape.
Who described it that way?
My mother.
How did she describe it to you?
Basically that, you know, it was bad, you need to get here.
And what is it that you were expecting when you walked in?
I was expecting the man to be hooked up to machines and honestly, I wasn't even expecting him to be just in a general room, you know.
So was you mad that daddy was still alive? Like, why he angry about that? Why he making it seem like she did something wrong, so wrong by calling and saying, hey, we taking your father to the hospital, come up here. You know, damn, he sound like he mad because like it was a waste of time or like he thought it was going to be more than that, right? Instead of sounding like he relieved. I really don't like this guy. Just to tell y'all, just to be fully transparent, I don't like this guy, okay? But anywho, continue to listen. Not that y'all stopped, and if I stop hitting pause, y'all can continue to listen. But check this out, what he say next.
As bad as it seemed, which I was told, I didn't expect to walk in and see my father just sitting up like, and I was very panicked. And he looks at me, he's like, what's your problem? I was like, well, I was told that you're in really bad shape right now.
I want to go back a little bit. Eventually, your parents moved out of the home in Alpharetta, the first house you moved into in 1995, right?
Correct.
When did they do that?
Correct. I could be, you know, the dates and everything, but 2014 is what I thought it was. Because it was after Halloween, because I remember helping them move, and I was trying to get out of there to go watch the Alabama game. So we were playing LSU that night. So yeah, it was right around November.
Everything about his inconvenience, right?
Is what I thought. Was what I think.
And where did they move to?
Purcell Lane, Alpharetta, Georgia. On the other side of Alpharetta. It's more the western northern corner.
This is my last time pausing it. However, y'all know that I am a certified, verified, according to the YouTube school I went to be a body language analysis, right? And right now, if you notice, her positioning and the way that she pulls her sweater, like all the way closed around her tight, like all of a sudden it can turn into the deepest, coldest winters in there. All that, see how she kind of like looking off, looking down, kind of trying to like, a little bit detached. You can tell, I can tell you guys from my professional opinion, all of this is letting me know she can't stand this son here. She can't barely stand to look at him. It gives her like just an uncomfortable feeling where she got to kind of seek warmth and some type of comfort and kind of like close herself off and as far away from him as possible. Okay, and that's my professional body analyst review. Mm-hmm.
Of Alpharetta, and is actually in Cherokee County.
Okay. Did you live with them at the time?
No.
Where were you living?
In Buckhead, at my apartment.
Why did they move out of their Alpharetta home?
It's a good question. I talked to my dad about it some, and he said, you know, it's just kind of time. And my mother and I talked about it, and I went and met her to look at homes while they were looking for houses before they purchased the Purcell Lane house, I would meet her and I would go with her and her real estate agent to look at homes.
Were you surprised when they bought a hobby farm?
Yeah, I was a little bit.
Why?
Because my father always told me, he's like, well, after this house, I just want to get a townhouse in, Buckhead or, and so I'm close to the office and don't have anything really to take care of.
Where was his office?
It's in Midtown. I guess you would say Midtown. It's off 17th Street. It's the Wells Fargo building.
So that was around, do you think 2014, the fall? When they
I
moved
believe so.
into
I
the
mean, I
farm?
guess it could be 2013, but I think it's 2014.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the last time
Okay,
I'm pausing. I promise. Y'all, the Little Lane jury box, I cannot trust y'all around company and guests and new jurors. Now, when B.A. Sage came up here earlier, she she was all nice and just as non-biased. Now y'all got B.A. Y'all bad influence. B.A. Sagittarius say that pug doesn't care about her or what he's saying. I 1000% blame the Lit Lane card carrying jurors for y'all influence. And I'm glad to see, VA, that you didn't just slid in perfectly, okay? And that's what I like, you guys. This is not your average trial watching chat. We watch some serious trials, but we open-minded, opinionated, and hey, it's not all just doom and gloom, right? Welcome.
So you saw your father in the hospital
Correct.
in April, and he was fine.
Yes.
He appeared fine. And how long was he in hospital for?
A few days. I talked to the doctors and they were just trying to figure out kind of what was wrong with him to cause him to have the spell that caused him to have to be brought to the hospital. So they ran some tests. I know they had a stress test and all that kind of stuff.
While you were talking to your dad in the hospital, did he enlighten you on what he thought was wrong with him?
He did.
What was that?
Listen.
He said, Chris, I think your mother is trying to poison me.
Girl,
And what was your
boom.
reaction?
I said, he said, well, it's like she spent the day screaming at me and I was watching TV in the theater room and all of a sudden she brings me down some cookies. And I ate the cookies and my throat started burning and then I started feeling bad. And I told him, are you like what? He's, oh, I'm just probably paranoid or something, some paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he kind of shrugged it off.
Sure.
And that's what he said.
At that time, did you know
I
the
object.
state of your
Hearsay.
relationship?
I know they didn't like each other very much.
Why did you think that?
Well, there had been different episodes, with, he had told me about a gentleman named Rusty Barton. He had told me numerous things. I mean, there was a lot of things why I thought that.
He confided in you about their relationship.
Somewhat, yes. I think he might have confided in some of the other children more than me.
Like who?
Emily, Scott, maybe Amanda. I don't know about Amanda.
Wow. Can you imagine if he did all this with him, how much he was telling the other kids?
Physically in the home? In the farm?
Of course, yes.
And how did they live?
My father My father slept downstairs in a bedroom in the basement. My mother slept in the master bedroom. They still shared a bathroom. My father still showered in the master bathroom. He still had his main closet there, but they slept on different floors.
Did your dad sleep with a CPAP machine?
Oh, yeah.
Did he sleep with it every night, to your knowledge?
Yes.
I'd like to talk about your dad's birthday weekend before he was murdered, okay?
Okay.
When is your dad's birthday?
June 27th, 1960 was when he was born, so June 27th.
Okay. And was that essentially the week before his remains were found?
Absolutely, yes.
What did the family do for his birthday?
Well, we had a family gathering at the farm. Everybody was there. It was a cookout. We cooked barbecue, and Emily brought her daughter, the new baby, and it was a celebration of his birthday.
Were your daughters there?
No, they were not there.
So when you say everybody here, I have a family tree over here. Both your parents were there, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then that's you and your wife at the time, don't know?
Correct.
Scott was there. Emily's husband Chris there too?
Yes.
And they had just had Olivia.
Yes.
And then Amanda was there?
Yes.
Was Chad with her?
Yes.
Was Cameron there?
I don't remember that.
What did you all do that day, that evening?
We ate. I remember Jenna and I took the RTV through the woods, and I actually ran out of gas, so I had to walk back up and get gas for the RTV, because when you took it off road, it would get kind of sideways. Well, if it was on empty, it wouldn't be able to suck the fuel into the engine. So I had to walk all the way through. She wasn't very happy with me at the time, but we walked from RTV back up to the barn to get fuel to put in it so I could drive it back up to the house.
Did you have anyone help you with that?
I don't remember. I think maybe my brother did, but I don't remember.
Were you well versed with what to do on the farm and how to work anything on the farm or work at all on the farm?
No.
Okay. Did you like going to the farm?
No.
Why not?
Well, I did sometimes, but for the majority of the time I did not. When they first bought the farm, I didn't really like going because my father would, put me to work, cutting trees down with him and things like that. And then the other reasons down the road kind of led to why I didn't like going there, which was the turmoil of their relationship, unfortunately.
Of what? Of their relationship?
Yeah.
Did you have turmoil with anyone?
With my mother.
Okay. When did that start?
I don't know. I mean, it's a mother-son relationship. I mean, we, had issues from time to time. But in summer of 2017, it got to its highest point of turmoil.
What happened?
Well, her and I got into a little bit of a confrontation because she was withholding giving my children back to me. My children love spending time with their grandmother, but my kids were being purposely held from being returned to me.
Do you know what caused that?
Now she a kidnapper.
Well, she said it was because of my drinking. So I don't really know why, but I know what she said.
Okay. And how did you receive that information from her?
Not very well. I was very upset. And my kids are only here for a short period of time. I mean, they had gotten to the point where, you know, before when they were younger, they'd come for a couple months during the summer, and it was to the point where they'd come for a couple weeks, and they were just spending all the time with her.
So I don't know if we've really talked about this. You moved back to Georgia, and did the girls stay in Maine with their mom?
Yes.
When did that happen?
2007.
2007?
Excuse me. Yeah, 2007.
Okay. And so when you talk about the girls coming, they would come to see you.
Right. They would be on summer break, and they would come for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere around then, and spend time with me and my family.
And they would hang out with your mom a lot.
Oh yeah, they loved
What would they do with her?
a lot. They would spend the night. They would go shopping. They would go do lots of things that a grandmother and grandchildren would do.
When it came to your daughters, did your mom and dad, they never said no? Everything was
Oh, they never
fun.
said no. They love Big Daddy and Grandma.
That's what they call
Where the
them,
money
Big Daddy and
reside.
Grandma.
Correct.
Big
Didn't I
Daddy
tell
was
y'all
big,
that? Where the
Grandma
money
was little.
reside?
So I want to go back to this incident with your mom. Describe what happened. How you described her withholding your children. Describe what
Well,
that means.
I had Braves tickets for this particular night, and I had gone to pick them up, and she basically said, I'm not going to let them go with you. And that's what happened. She wouldn't let them go with me. And there was an argument.
And what did you end up saying to her that night?
I ended up saying basically, we got into an argument, and then I actually left because I was trying to call my father. He was either at the farm or there. I was trying to get him to come up there to like help with the situation, and his phone was going straight to voicemail. So I just left. Like, it was getting very heated. She was very, very, what's the word? Like, very angry and just screaming at me. And I was screaming and I was yelling back, and I just got out of there. I didn't want any part of it. And on the way back,
He's like a big old kid.
my father called me, and he's like, come on back. And then I went back and I got my kids.
And what sort of words were exchanged when you were there between you and your mom?
I don't remember what kind of words. I know that
You
I
remember
said
everything else.
to her
Yeah,
the
boo.
next time. I was very angry, and I said, the next time I see you, you will be in a pine box, by saying, I'm not going to talk to you ever again while you're alive. Okay. Basically saying, I'll come to your funeral, but that's it. We're done. And so that was pretty harsh of me to say.
And you were reacting.
Well, she tried to attack me. She tried to hit me, and she didn't hit me, but she went like that to hit me. And
If you don't go sit there overgrown crap, I'm sorry.
37 years old at the time. That was
Order in the
guard
court.
by that.
Order in the
I
court.
told her, I was like, if you hit me, I will defend myself. And
Exactly. He won't just say
going back
the
and
reason why
forth.
she didn't want him to take. She didn't
I
want him to
ended
take the
up
kids because he was
recording.
drunk.
taking out my camera and recording this exchange. Later on, deleting that recording, but it was hard. It was very hard.
What ended up happening when you went back, when your dad told you to come back? What ended up happening?
I came back. My kids were waiting on the porch with their suitcases, with their clothes in it, and we went home.
Who was
Not
out there with
the
them?
kids on the porch.
My mom was out there, my dad was out there, and then my girls were out there. And I was out there.
And so then the girls left with you.
Yep, they got in the back of the truck, in the back seat of the truck, and we went home.
I want to jump forward and go back to your dad's birthday weekend. That weekend, did you hang out with your dad?
Yeah,
You talked about driving the RTV. What all did the family do when you had gatherings?
well, we would eat. You know, all of our gatherings were focused around food, which is very, that's just how our family was, very Southern, and we would eat together, we would talk. That particular day, we had a new baby. So I remember, playing with Olivia and recording videos. It was, I had met her before, but, they lived in Nashville. So, I didn't get to see her that often. So, we were celebrating my father, but we were also celebrating Olivia.
At that point, was your mom at the house?
Yes.
So had you guys made up, rekindled? How did that happen?
Before Olivia was born, my sister had a baby shower. This was beginning of October of 2017. So about 3 months after my last interaction with my mother, I did not speak with her for 3 months. I was out. I had gotten a hotel in downtown Nashville for that weekend of the baby shower. And I was out in Nashville with my wife and my mother, Chad Bruce, and Amanda Bruce, Amanda Farris, came walking into Legends, which is a bar on Broadway in Nashville. So I went up to them and greeted them, and I actually hugged my mother.
And was there ever a discussion about what happened between the two of you?
No.
So after that, it was kind of brushed under the rug and you moved forward.
Yes.
Is that fair to say? At your dad's birthday celebration, did you and your dad plan any trips or talk about taking any vacations? Tell the jury about that.
So my daughter had come to visit in May. So this was about a month before. And we were at Longhorn, and Ella said, "Big Daddy, I want to go to the beach this summer." And he said, "Okay, we'll go to the beach." So leading up to that birthday party, my father and I had discussed going to Orange Beach, Alabama for a trip right after the 4th of July. We would be going on the trip right after the 4th of July, but that party we definitely discussed the upcoming trip.
A calendar till 2018. And so when you say the weekend after the 4th of July, so the Friday, Saturday, the 6th and the 7th?
Yeah, I think we were supposed to leave for Orange Beach on, I think it was Friday. We were supposed to leave to go there.
Okay. So after Ella had expressed this to your dad, were there further conversations between you and your dad about the beach?
Yeah, he told me to pick out a couple places where I thought we could go. He had given some recommendations. I had been to Orange Beach before, but I wasn't that familiar with it. I usually went to Destin. But I ended up picking a couple places, and he said, "Oh yeah, that place is good." And he booked it and paid for it.
I would like to talk about, you mentioned your dad booked for it and paid for it. Did
Yes.
your dad pay for a lot of things?
Yes.
And did he pay for a lot of things for you?
Yes.
Like what?
He would always pay for my children to fly down. He would pay for Ella's horseback riding lessons. He would pay for the girls' dance lessons, recitals, costumes. He would help me out with bills. My dad helped me and paid for a lot.
Yeah, you used to say my
Did you have
dad
a
paid
job
for
at this time?
everything.
Yes.
What was your job?
At the time, I had my own painting company.
So, was your dad that helpful with everyone in the family,
I believe so,
to your knowledge?
to my knowledge.
How was your dad and Scott's relationship?
They had a great relationship.
Would he take care of Scott
Yes.
financially?
Yes, Scott worked at the farm. So they kind of had Scott worked at the farm. I mean, it was a lot of work. And my brother did not have another job, and my brother had to have money to live. So it's, I didn't know the details of it. I didn't know if they had like a, agreement of how much, or I don't know what that looked like. But yeah, I mean, I know the money my brother would be from my father.
Would you and your dad ever get in arguments about money?
I wouldn't really consider it an argument. I mean, he'd get mad at me for spending money or asking him for money, or there were even times, I mean, when I had his credit card number, I mean, then I would use it without his permission, without asking it first. And he'd get upset with me, but it wasn't an argument.
Boom!
Stealing
from his daddy. Stealing from his daddy.
So when it came to the beach, he was okay paying for that.
Yeah, he was going with us.
And was there an agreement between the two of you with what that would look like?
I was going to pay for everything there, the dinners, whatever, things you pay for at the beach. And he was going to pay for the condo.
Did you eventually pick out a condo?
We did.
And who booked that condo?
My father.
Did he tell you when he booked it?
Yes.
Do you remember when he booked it?
I don't remember, but I remember he texted me. He said it's booked.
Was it prior to, well, it's obviously prior to the vacation itself. Was it prior to July, let's say 1st?
Yes.
So it was the end of June.
Yeah.
Did you discuss it at his birthday?
He told me I had stopped and bought a raft to take to the beach because I was actually buying his birthday gift at Academy. And I called him. I said, hey, I got a raft to take to the beach. And he's like, yeah. He's like, don't talk about that while you're here.
Okay. While you're where?
At the house.
Okay. Was your mom going to the beach?
No.
How do you know that?
Because my father told me he was trying to get her to go to the beach and she refused.
Okay. Did you talk to her about the beach?
I did.
And what was her reaction to you?
She told me she had too much going on and she couldn't go.
So who would have, if
She was gonna be with Rusty.
who would have gone?
It would have been me, my wife Jenna, both of my daughters, Ella and Addie, and my father.
Let's talk about Jenna.
So please take note. Please take note. This grown man had his senior citizen father financing not only his children that was out of state with the first wife. And remember, he didn't have a good job when he was married to that first wife. And that's why the first wife, the mother of his children, that's why her family offered them to move up to the East Coast or to Maine or something and stay in the property they had there. Him and that first wife with the kids divorced. He comes back home and has the audacity to get a second wife, who his father is financing all of these things. Right. And it wasn't just him, it was the other siblings. And they say that was a big, huge point of contention with Melody. She didn't like how the dad had everybody, you know, just letting them be ne'er-do-wells. Only one of the kids was actually, you know, professionally wise, what you would consider the society would consider like really successful, or even successful up to the point that you would think, you know, a couple in this status in position in the community, you would have thought they would have had more kids that was more productive, but they didn't.
For a second, when did you and Jenna get married?
July of 2015.
And did your dad help you out with your engagement or wedding to Jenna? Financially?
Yes,
How so?
he helped me with the engagement ring, and he also paid for the rehearsal dinner at our wedding.
Okay. And you said it was in 2015?
The wedding.
The wedding was in 2015? Okay.
If you can't afford the ring, you can't afford the
You
wife.
have been married to Jenna for 3 years
Yes,
at this point. And when the girls came to visit you, would they stay with you and Jenna?
they would stay with me and Jenna, and then they would stay at the farm a lot.
The conversations about the beach with your mom, was that over the phone, in person? How did you guys discuss the beach?
Most of the conversations with my mother we spoke, but I don't remember exactly how that, if it was text messages or if it was a phone call, I don't remember.
But at that point, to your knowledge, she was not going.
Correct.
Now, after your father's birthday, I want to talk about that next week, okay?
Okay.
The first week in July of 2018. Were your girls scheduled to come down and stay with you?
Yes,
When did they come down?
they arrived at between 8 and 9 a.m. The morning of July the 3rd.
The morning of July 3rd, and that's Tuesday?
Yes.
So the Tuesday morning.
hmm
Did you work on Monday, July 2nd?
I don't remember, but probably. I would think so, but I don't remember.
Okay. So the morning.
I mean, it was a holiday week, you know, so probably I don't remember.
Okay. Let's talk about the morning of July 3rd, that Tuesday. What did that morning look like to you? What did you do?
Woke up, drove to the airport, Hartsville, Jackson, picked my kids up.
Tee.
They always wanted to go to Waffle House. They don't have that in Maine. So we went to Waffle House.
Who was it that went?
Ella, Addie, and myself.
Jenna was not with you.
No.
Okay. So how long did you eat at Waffle House for?
30 minutes.
What did you do next?
We went back to
And
my
Renee,
condo.
see, this what happens when we go over 2 hours. We got 7 more
55
minutes,
Far
folks.
Road in Buckhead.
Oh, y'all get unruly. I already
And
know.
what did you do then?
Just hung out. I had a dog at the time. They were very fond of Oliver. That's my dog's name, or was my dog's name. We hung out, and they were itching to do what they had what they thought planned, for their trip, which is.
And what were their plans?
Well, Addie had already arranged with Cameron, which is Chad Bruce's daughter. My sister Amanda at the time, really know what eventually become, I guess when they got married, her stepdaughter. They had planned, because they, both had phones. They would text each other and, say, "Oh, I'm coming down to stay with me, visit my dad, and we're going to have a sleepover at the farm." So that was Addie's plans.
Okay.
Ella's plans were she had this friend, Emma, who was the daughter of, I think, this guy named Terry, who lives, I think he lived on Birmingham Highway, and had somehow my mother had become friends with him, and Emma had become friends with Ella, and Ella and Emma had talked, and Emma's mom actually trained horses at this facility up in Cumming. I believe it was Cumming. It was up near the farm, but it was, I know she lived in Cumming because I dropped her off there that afternoon. So they were itching to go. You know, they had plans.
Okay. And none of them with you, it sounds like.
No. I mean,
they were how old?
Yeah, they were preteens at the time. They were 12 and 14 years old. Like they were very social.
They were busy.
They were busy.
So did you execute these plans for them?
Well, you know, Addie's plans did not come to fruition the night of the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
She had asked to do that, and I said, well, you got to ask your grandmother, and it just didn't work out.
Oh my God. I'm trying to wait till she say no more questions.
To Emma's mom's house and dropped her off. She went to have a sleepover. They were actually going to sleep over at this horse training facility, and I think they had like a pool or a pond they swam in, and she was all excited about it. So we actually stopped at Target on the way up there so she could buy a new bathing suit.
Okay.
He comes across so disingenuous to me, you know.
I think her name was Beth, maybe.
I don't know why,
but yeah, I dropped her off there.
He doesn't seem
What
genuine.
time was that?
I'd say if I had to put a number on it, between 4 and 4:30 p.m.
On the 3rd.
Correct.
Okay. After you dropped Ella off at Emma's on the 3rd, where did you go next?
I called my father and I said,
Of course.
hey, do you want to meet us for dinner? Because I hadn't talked to him that day. And he
That's
said,
cold for Dad. When you come by us dinner, we hungry.
You know, meet up and he's like, no. I'm at the farm. I'm just working. I said, oh, okay. Well, I was like, I just dropped Ella off. We're going to come by and come see you. He had recently seen Ella because she was down in May, but he hadn't seen Addison since Christmas time. So, we were up there. Might as well stop by.
So you ended up stopping by the farm?
I did.
And about what time did you get there?
About 5 o'clock.
How long did you stay?
Between 20 to 30 minutes.
What did you do when you were there?
We pulled in. My father was in the driveway, sitting on the RTV. I parked my truck, went up to him, and Addie went to get, I just never forget it. You know, this is the last time I saw my father. He said, oh, just let me give you a kiss because I'm too sweaty right now for you to hug me. And then at some point my mother walked out and we went up to the barn because I think they had some baby ducks that had been born recently or something like that. And
maybe a baby goat. I
think there might have been a baby goat. I just remember the baby ducks as being the draw that day, but I think there was a baby goat too, maybe.
Okay.
There's always babies of some sort. There were a lot of animals.
Baby animals. So you and Addie walked the property, went to the barn. Who was with you? Was your dad and mom with you?
Yes. We actually went from the main house up to the barn, and then we walked down to the pond to see the baby ducks, and my mother walked down there with us.
Who all went to the barn? All
to the
four of
barn?
you? Yeah.
All four of us went to the barn.
How did you get to the barn?
I drove my truck up there.
Okay. How does your dad get to the barn?
He rode the RTV.
How did your mom get to the barn?
I think she walked, but I don't remember.
And was Addison with you or with your dad or with your mom?
Addison was with me, I think. She might have walked with my mom. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
So your dad was on the RTV.
He's so full of it. We didn't sat here and listened to this man talk about stuff that happened in 2008, 2007. We didn't sat here and listen to him recollect stuff from when he was 5 and 6 years old. And it's amazing how he has selective memory, on stuff that happened more recently. I think he's just so full of it. Mama is 38. Hot. Yep. And Renee is bad. Okay. Now I stopped it right here, you guys, because this is actually girl, you almost made me choke, Renee. No, I'm not going to stopping. This is my last stop for the night because I'm about to go ahead and end the live. This is a good place because the defense actually, I want to stop now, right before the 4th. Okay, I want to stop it right here. So when we come back tomorrow and pick up Chris's testimony, it'll be starting from them going to the barn and getting ready for July 4th. So this is a pretty good place, okay? So there you have it, you guys. We've had another great, excellent trial watch. This is the best of. We got to see the neighbor give his character witness testimony. We found out a few things, as far as they didn't have any type of romantic affair, but she seemed to me overly friendly and very open and flagrant about her affairs and her flirtations. A good cliffhanger, right? And I think we could be able to say that from the first adult child, Chris, the oldest son, testimony, that they were very small. Yeah, it was getting to be a little bit too much, right? So it was, okay, great testimony this evening. I'm invested. VA say, yeah, because, it was getting a little rambly. Miss Step 219. Okay, so we engaged. We invested. We are obviously from the, you caught up? Oh, good, unbothered. And thank y'all for joining again, VA Sag and Unbothered for Real. We do the best of trial Monday through Thursday from 7 until 9. I was a little late tonight, but that's because I went a little over earlier today. And I'll be on here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We will be covering the preliminary hearing. Again, we'll be picking up and tomorrow's going to be really a trigger warning, okay? Because I think tomorrow we're going to hear from more family members. We may even hear from some of the kids in that particular case, okay? So that's going to start tomorrow at 11. Then we're going to go to 2. And if we just can't pull ourselves away, we might go till 3, okay? So we shall see y'all on tomorrow. Thank you, Connie. I hope you come to join us more often, and Star Bell and everybody. Good night. We're watching the preliminary hearing, Connie, for the what is it? What state is it? Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. This is the trial we're covering. This is our daytime trial we're covering. We're covering the preliminary hearing, Michigan versus Jarvis Butt. The preliminary hearing started on this Monday. Today we watched day 1 of the preliminary hearing. And tomorrow we pick up at day 2. And we're going to be here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, watching that and reacting to it, okay? On that one, I don't give as much commentary. We kind of just really listen and get familiar. All right. Good night, you guys. I got to go take care of my doggy babies. Hit the like. I'm sure y'all did. All right, Connie. I'll be looking for you, girl. Good night.
Thanks for watching. Do not forget click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Like, comment and share. See you next time.